I walk outside the Raffles Hotel here in downtown Singapore. It is the birthplace of the now internationally famous cocktail, the Singapore Sling, at the Long Bar on the second floor of this hotel. It's a fruity concoction, originally invented so that ladies of the era could actually have a drink without looking like they were drinking alcohol, since it was frowned upon. Now, am I going to have a Singapore Sling here? No. Reason being, the last time that I had one was 20 years ago, and it was, how do I put this, uninspiring. I didn't really like it. Maybe I didn't appreciate it, I don't know, but to me it basically tasted kind of like halfway between cough syrup and Kool-Aid. Not really my thing. And also, at the time, it was $18, and I felt kind of ripped off. Today, they sell it for $40. Am I going to spend $40 on a cocktail that I may or may not like? Hell no. For that, we need to take a trip to the past. Greetings, people of the future. I understand that you want a Singapore Sling, but didn't want to pay $40 a glass. I understand. So I've taken the liberty of buying about $160 worth of liqueurs in order to make a Singapore Sling. I still don't see it as a waste necessarily, even if I don't like the Singapore Sling, because I can use them in other cocktails. So it's just stocking my bar with an odd variety of things, perhaps. And I've taken the liberty of actually pre-measuring some of the ingredients just so I don't have 15 bottles sitting here. So I have here 1.5 ounces of gin, and 1/4 ounce of Benedictine, which is kind of an herbal liqueur, and 1/2 ounce of lime juice. To this, I am going to be adding 1/2 ounce of cherry brandy. Now, I've got Luxardo here, which is a sort of a maraschino. 1/2 ounce, right. The recipe that I had specifically called for cherry, for hearing cherry. Ooh, I almost dumped that on the table. I couldn't find that anywhere, so I'm going with a maraschino. 1/4 ounce of Cointreau or triple sec. Cointreau was stupid expensive, so I'm going with the triple sec. And yeah, the amount that I spilled there is about 1/4 ounce. 4 ounces of pineapple juice. Oh, it's right in front of me. See, this gets complicated with all these different bottles here. 4 ounces of pineapple juice. So that's 1.5, 3, 4. Splish. Oh, grenadine. Yes. 1/3 ounce of grenadine. This doesn't really have graduations for that, but we're going to eyeball it. Call that 1/3 ounce. Make it nice and pink. And to this, dash of bitters. I've got good old Angostura here. Ice. Ice in a Collins glass. I'm doing this sitting down to spare you the view of my belly shaking while I do this. Pour over ice. Garnish with a hunk of pineapple and a maraschino cherry, because maraschino. The Singapore Sling. A pink drink for ladies who can't be seen drinking alcohol in public. Cheers. Yeah. That is significantly better than the Singapore Sling that I remember getting on my first trip to Singapore. The herbal notes from the Benedictine definitely come through. The fruitiness, even though this is fresh pressed, quote unquote, pineapple juice. I don't know how long this has been around, but it's real pineapple juice. That fruitiness definitely comes through. The grenadine gives it a little bit of something, as well as the cherry, the maraschino. That little bit of herbal from the Benedictine is coming through, and it's quite nice. The gin, I chose a fairly mild London dry gin. It's Gilbey's, so it doesn't have that, toilet cleaner kind of pine solly, really, really aggressive juniper flavor to it, which I think helps. It's fruity. It's refreshing. It's a little on the sweet side for me. It's not cloyingly so, but it's pretty sweet. If you're not the type of person who likes sweet drinks, this probably isn't for you. But as something that maybe deserves an umbrella, it's not bad. I will say the Singapore Sling that I remember on my first trip, my first visit there, it was sort of the unfortunate love child between Kool-Aid and cough syrup. And it was not good. And at the time was $18. And it did not get served to you in a collectible hurricane glass that you could take with you. It was, here's your cocktail. Enjoy it. It's $18. I felt a little ripped off. Because it wasn't tasty at all, and for $18, yeah. Now, with all of the ingredients that I have purchased, like I said, it's roughly $160 worth of ingredients. I would say that I should be able to, if I actually wanted Singapore Slings, I'm going to guesstimate about 20 servings. So that comes out to about $8 a serving, which isn't as bad. It's certainly better than 40. But it is kind of on the expensive side because of all the different ingredients that you have to buy for everything. I've actually forgotten how much I like pineapple. That is delicious. Now, let's set that aside for a moment. The Singapore Sling, as I said, it's an evolution of the gin sling, which is itself a storied historical drink. In the Americas, there is actual written documentation of gin, rum, or whiskey slings being made as far back as the 1750s. I think 1758 is the first recorded mention of a gin sling. And this is in a time before the actual term cocktail was ever coined, which I find very interesting. Now, the original traditional gin sling is nothing more than gin, simple syrup, and like a twist of lemon or lime. And so in some ways it bears a resemblance to like the gin gimlet, but it's a pretty simple drink. I think we can actually improve upon it a little bit. Now I am going to dump out my ice. Let's make an improved gin sling and just see if that's you know, better, worse, indifferent, to the Singapore Sling. I'm going to start off with 1.5 ounces of gin. Again, I am going to use this London Dry gin. I really don't like the heavily junipered gins, so I like ones that, you know, it's there, but other botanicals have equal footing. Oh, yes, I'm making a gin sling. So, sweet vermouth, 1 ounce. Along with simple syrup and lemon or lime. I am cheating and using sweetened lime juice. So I'm going to go for 1.5 ounces of that. Like I said, I cheat. Obviously, since I'm doing all the drinking here, I can put my paws onto everything. You should probably use tongs if you're actually serving someone else. Top this with 3 to 4 ounces soda water. Just about like that. Garnish with a lemon twist if you have it. I don't. I'm a bad bartender. Here's a gin sling. My nose is a little stuffed up. I smell nothing. It's more of a limeade. Let me see if I get some of the soda water to mix in a little better. Nope, it's the same. The gin, the lime really comes through. It kind of subsumes the gin itself, really. That's actually quite refreshing. If you like, you know, an alcoholic limeade. It's definitely not as sweet as the Singapore Sling. Again, this was intended to be a girly drink. It was invented in right around 1915. The exact date is disputed. Often claimed to have been invented at the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. I don't remember the bartender's name. I can just see it in my mind's eye, but I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I'm going to get it wrong. But intended to be a girly drink because at the time, polite society said that that proper ladies should not be seen drinking alcohol in public. So they made something that could be construed as being a fruit juice drink, so no one would notice that it actually has quite a bit of alcohol in it. I mean, probably a total of about really 2 ounces of actual alcohol. A lot of the other ingredients, I mean, it's a 1/4 ounce of this and 1/2 ounce of that, and some of them are only like 20 proof. So actual alcohol probably about 2 ounces total. So it's not like a Long Island iced tea, but there is alcohol in it. Proper ladies don't drink alcohol. They drink juice. Not bad. Refreshing for a summer's day. Definitely for the heat of Singapore. Pretty much every day. But is it worth $40 a glass? For my money, no. I'm I'm not a huge fan of really sweet, fruity drinks. I'll drink them. It's fine. And if I'm on vacation and sitting poolside, something like this, or a gin sling, is not unwelcome. Just not entirely my first choice. Well, that is actually getting tartar the longer it sits. That's interesting. But in any case, that is how to make a Singapore Sling, and its sort of older cousin, the gin sling. And I've enjoyed it now, so you don't have to in the future. Anyway, back to you. Thanks, Past Mike. So, what do you think about the Singapore Sling or its ancestor, the gin sling? Are they worthwhile cocktails? They're worthy. They're iconic for a reason. They are both quite tasty in subtly different and not so subtly different ways. They're both very tasty. Ordering for 40 bucks in an actual bar. Yes and no. I mean, we figured out that buying all the ingredients, making it yourself, it comes out to $7 to $8 for a serving of Singapore Sling, and expected markup for a cocktail in a bar is usually about 3 times the cost of the ingredients themselves in order for the bar to make a decent profit. So, it's edging up towards 40 bucks for a Singapore Sling. I think if you were to have some sort of tropical themed party, have people over, and actually make 20 servings of Singapore Sling and just pour them out for all your friends, that might be a worthwhile way of doing it, because, spending 160 bucks on ingredients and having them sitting around just so you can have that one serving of Singapore Sling might not be worth it to you. But again, like I said, you could use those ingredients for other cocktails. And I'll be exploring more into what I can do with the rest of the ingredients that I have on hand. So, but what do you think? Would you like to try a Singapore Sling? Are there any variations on the Singapore Sling that you know of that perhaps you prefer better? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like, subscribe, all the internet things. And we'll see you next time here on this series about my trip to Singapore. I'll talk to you later.